Hello, ladies. Welcome back for episode 6. I'm here with Meredith again to talk some sports. I have my mimosa, and you have what?
I have my hottie toddy because it's below 60 degrees.
Yes, it is cold. I have on my big Mamba um or Kobe Bryant's Mamba Foundation
Oh, nice.
sweater that I got because it's Kobe, but it's so cold outside. But I still have my champagne, my mimosa. So I'm excited to talk about sports this week. There's a lot going on,
Yes.
especially in baseball. Been some exciting times since we just talked last week. But so for those that don't know, if you haven't been following or if you didn't look on Sports and Mimosa, we are down to the final four in.
I'm also keeping up with one game, so I apologize for my patience.
So, in case you didn't know, it's the Astros is one of them, and that's who she's watching. So
I'm actually watching Phillies and Padres right now.
Phillies. That's what you
So,
did say.
yes.
Yeah, Phillies. So the four teams that are in the each of the league playoffs or championship games, Phillies and the Padres, which Meredith is currently watching. That's happening now, and this is game two of the series. And then the Yankees just finished out of the first round of the earlier round to advance to this championship. And so they're going
Yes.
to play Meredith's team.
Tonight.
That's about that. My Dodgers aren't in it, so Meredith's the only happy one right now in baseball.
I don't think I'm happy. Like, it's such a hard emotion. Again, it's a very stressful thing to be a fan of. To catch everyone up, the Astros, I know we talked about it last week, but the series with Seattle Mariners, even though it was a sweep, meaning we won the first 3 games, which is to just secure it. The third game lasted 18 innings. For those of you who don't know, a regular baseball game is only 9. So we technically played 2 games that day. And it was like a scoreless 18 innings until our
I
rookie
think that's worse to watch.
it's worse. Like that's what and it's funny because I get a little stitious, not superstitious, but a little stitious. And I hadn't been able to watch them. Like when I watched them, like bad things happened. So I was like, I'm not gonna watch. I like went to the movies with my friend and I told my sister, I was like, text me to like keep me posted. So like if my phone goes off, I know like something happened. And like I noticed like halfway through the movie, like my sister hasn't told me anything. So I'm like, is she just not doing
Nothing's
her job?
happening.
Like that's all like she's not like telling me because I told her like I'm in a movie. Like and I was like, no, it's still scoreless. And so and the movie was like 2 hours. So I went to go see Don't Worry Darling because I was obsessed with that drama. So I went and I was like, hey, it's still nothing happening. And then so me and my friend go to dinner and I'm like, okay, well, and we watched the LSU game and I'm like trying to be like present in the moment.
You
I'm like,
watched the whole football game
I
in the
did.
middle.
And I'm like sitting here and I'm like refreshing. And then I went somewhere where I didn't have a lot of good signal. So I'm like refresh. And it's like still 0. And I literally pull it up into my car and like in my driveway, I'm sitting in my car and Pina, our rookie, hit a single home run. And I was like, I'm not leaving my car. Like I'm not, and then because we were in Seattle, we still had to wait for them to have their final at bat at the bottom of the 18th. So you're
Yeah.
just like, oh God, oh God, oh God.
Oh,
And
that's
I'm
the
like,
worst feeling because you're
yes,
like, let's just end it. And it's
yes.
like,
You
no,
just
you
you
get a
wish it
whole
could be like
chance.
football, but
Yeah,
it's like up first score, bye, like whatever.
you're
But
done.
no, you have to like serious, and that's like something when I tell people, I'm like, baseball is a very mental, strenuous sport because like you, so like right now, like Phillies are playing, and the San Diego just went from like 4 to 7. And like you have like you still have to keep playing. Like the people could just be scoring and scoring and
Yeah.
scoring, and there's no way
Well,
that you could just be like, okay, get off the field. You're like, no,
right.
I have to
Well,
play until I get 3
the
out. So like,
mental to stay for 18 innings because it's
yes,
like, NFL and the
and then
NBA, you'll
yeah,
cut it off, but it's
yes,
like, no, we need a
exactly. You
winner
can't. You have to stay, and then and it's like postseason. So you're
because
like, no,
I'd
this is
walk off
either
like I'm
yeah.
done.
Well, then like you're concerned, and this is something that like I feel, and just in my in my history of being an Astros fan, like our bullpen has kind of like been what's held us back in the
The
World Series.
bullpen, the
Like
pitchers.
the pitchers, yes, thank you. I get so wrapped up in it, and I forget that people don't know these. So like the bullpen, I feel like has been like where we could have done better in the other World Series appearances or postseason appearances. And so then you're like, oh God, like our poor pitchers. So then like you had this, like if Seattle would have won after 18 innings, they still would have all had to be prepared to show up the next day. So it's almost like better that the Astros did win. Just so like
for
everyone,
the series, let's just be so
Yeah.
the series is the best of 5. So the first to get 3. So if they had won correct, they would have
Yes.
had to go play again because it would have just been tied.
within like hours, like within
Yeah.
12 hours, they would have had to rest their bodies and get ready. So it's kind of like a blessing that they won. And I will say that I don't think Seattle's done. I think they're totally going to be back in the next year. I think they're doing a great job. But I am glad that we
And
won
we mentioned their Instagram. I text you that
Yes.
the Astros put
Like,
CSEA.
Yes, next year. They're so
Little
they're so
petty.
punny. And I think it's a pun, but I also think it's also
So,
like
yeah.
we're probably going to see you next. Like I do think
Right.
that's
what I'm saying. Yep.
that's not the last matchup. I think
Because
at
they
all.
know how good they were. Obviously, 18.
Yes, they were so like 18 and then like scoreless. Like that is offense versus like offense. Like that's just great pitching all right. Like it was just, I mean, it was miserable to watch as a fan, but it was also like, oh my God, this might be the best pitched game in postseason history. The fact that it took 18 innings to get a run, period. So
Right.
that happened. So now we get to play, and after a lot of drama with weather, Guardians,
they got delayed
and
2
Yankees.
games
Yes.
because of weather.
And
That's
unfortunately that they sorry, I just got an email. They have to, so they had to play yesterday. Which I'm kind of proud of the Guardians for pushing it and like just
So
to keep it
who had to play
going.
yesterday was the Yankees
Guardians
and the
and the
Guardians
Yankees
to finish
to
that
see
off.
who was going to be it, and it had to be
So the
today
Astros
because
are well rested when they come
Yes.
into this.
But look what happened when we were well rested. We had Justin Verlander in that Seattle game. Just
Not
see, this
always
is
the
where I'm
best.
like, I'm not, yeah, like anything goes. And to give you some brief history, why it's like, it's the Yankees.
Yes,
don't
because
get
I
along.
saw something on Get Up with Jessica Mendoza, who is a sports analyst for baseball. She's amazing, but she was mentioning about that, and I wanted to ask you about that. Some beef with the Yankees and the Astros that is going to make this series
I
interesting.
think some beef is an understatement. It's been a year. It's been like just a history. So everyone knows, or not everyone. So Astros were accused of cheating in 2017.
We talked about that a little bit. Mhm.
So and I believe Jose I think Altuve won MVP that year, and I think it's between him and Aaron Judge, who plays for the Yankees. So it was a very like neck and neck thing. And Aaron Judge has been a proud vocal about him like not agreeing that we really were the winners that year. And he's like technically like he's just been very outspoken about it. And in the couple of the rematches since then, you know, the fans in Yankee Stadium have just really been like banging trash cans and just booing. And like there was a lot of history, especially with them, because I believe, if I'm wrong, like they had to play each other to get to the World Series. So it's like yeah. So then Aaron Judge made a statement about, I believe last year. So in 2017, there is this drama that Jose Altuve hit this like walk-off home run, and he tugged at his shirt, and that made a lot of people believe that he had the buzzer, which would tell people if a strike was coming or like what kind of pitch was coming. So, and they were like, he kept his shirt on. Why didn't he keep his shirt? So last year they played each other, and Aaron Judge like tugged at his shirt after he hit a home run to when they were playing against the Astros. So everyone was like, so petty. Well, Altuve wins, like hits a home run, and then he takes off his shirt to be like, we have nothing to hide, like whatever. So it's just been constant going. And so this year it's so interesting because it's just such a rival. And I think like just like New York sports in general and just whatever, but they also had a very hot year. Astros had a really good year compared to the Yankees. And I'm saying this is what Twitter says. Basically, the Astros have owned the Yankees this year. I think the record is just shutting them down. And then also we had earlier this year, they had a no hitter in Yankee Stadium.
The no hitter is
when they go through the whole game without a hit on base, nothing. Everyone, basically no one got on base. And which is very impressive in baseball. It's very rare, or it's quite an achievement, I guess you should say. And the last time the Yankees had ever experienced a no-hitter was in, I believe, let me see, I pulled it up. It's, I think, 2003, which was also against the Astros. So the only times it has happened in the last, I don't know how many years, do the math, I'm a liberal arts major. It's been the Astros. So the fact that it's been this thing, and like the Yankees have kind of been like up and down. Like I think we talked about it in one of the episodes that August they had their worst record of all time, or like since the beginning of them starting, and then they came and they pulled through to be in the postseason. Again, the Guardians gave them a run for their money, that, you know, they kept on fighting. And so it's just, I don't think it's going to be, I think it's going to be a fun series, but I do not think it's going to be a relaxing series, because I just think there's so much, but like there's so much like built in it. And I think, like, honestly, and I do believe in my Astros, I'm really proud of them, but I'm like, just seeing how like Seattle started, I was like, and then again, I think I told you, like, I only knew one person cheering for Seattle, so like it kind of was personal, but like I just really don't like the Yankees. Like I'm just like, my sister and I were like texting each other and we're like, ugh, it's the Yankees. And like just knowing like it's like two cocky sports leagues against each other. And so I just, and then like, because there's like the beef with like us owning them, but then like the World Series, like it's just,
that's gonna make a good series for me to watch, because I'm not tied. Like I said, it'll be stressful for you and for Yankee fans, because that sounds like more than a beef. Yeah, that's a lot of, especially the veterans on the Yankees team and on the Astros team. Like newer guys, maybe they don't have as much of that beef or anger built up, but like the guys that have been there since 2003, or Aaron and has been on the team for a while, like that's gonna be like, I feel like they're gonna go at it, and so it's gonna be a good series, like on both sides.
It's gonna be a good one, and I think it's gonna be well deserved, no matter who goes. And I do think it should be Astros. But
that was nice,
and then
so there's
also, but I also think, and then they have Garrett Cole, who was a really pivotal pitcher for us, and his contract ended. He was a part of there was a lot of speculation because he was with us when we played the Nationals in the World Series, and there was a lot of like, put Garrett Cole, like they pulled him early, and then like the game just went so south, and there's all this speculation that he wasn't happy to be there and just all this stuff. And like he was pulled like before he should have been, like he was still hot, and they pulled him.
When you pulled him out, they can't go back in as pitchers into the game.
And it's frustrating. So, and then his lifelong dream was to be a Yankee. So, the Yankees went and got him. So there's like that. And he did not have a good postseason last year, but he did a really good job the other night against the Guardians. So I think that there's just a lot of stories behind this one.
So that is going to be interesting. So I think their first game is tomorrow. When's their first game? Tonight after the Padres, or maybe at the same time.
Which also has a lot of history.
Yes, I was going to say, because I do want to ask you something to bring to our fans to make another interesting point of that one. But last night they played, and Bryce Harper is one of my favorites. He had a big homer, but also Kyle Schwarber, I think I'm saying his name right, had the longest hit in postseason. It was 488 feet.
Yeah.
And that ball, when it left the bat, was going 119.7 miles per hour.
Did you see Bryce Harper's face?
His face,
they like filmed it?
That was the best face ever. I gotta figure out how to pull that and put it up, because it was just crazy how he was looking. But something also exciting, I think, that I find when I find like little stories in games with teams that I'm not maybe fans of, to get me interested. But the Phillies and the Padres, there's a story like there's brothers on both teams playing.
Yes, the Nola brothers, good old Baton Rouge boys. Yes, so today they made history because it was Nola versus Nola, and they had played against each other in the like regular season, and kind of was juicy because Aaron had like Aaron is the pitcher for the Phillies, and then Austin is the catcher for the Padres. So for today, they're making history as the first pitcher versus hitter brother duo. So it's the first time in a World Series that a brother is pitching to his brother. And it's really exciting to see both of them because Aaron got called out of college, and he's the younger brother, whereas Austin got called out in 2019, which means he was 30 at the time. And so just to hear his story about how he's worked through the minors and whatnot. So it's
Yeah, I was gonna say,
he went to Seattle, and then he was in the minors for a very long time. And a lot of times, like for those of you who don't know, the minors are a lot of times where like people just end it. They're like, I'm not sticking with it. This has been fun. Peace out. Like they give up. And like Austin really stayed true to the game. And then he got caught up by Seattle. And then he got traded to the Padres mid-season, I think last year. And so it's been really fun to see them grow as players and then them face off. As of right now, the Phillies started off the game very strong. I was keeping up at work, and it was like 4-0 at one point, and then San Diego turned it on, and they started scoring. And then before we started the podcast, it was 4-4, and now it is 4-7 San Diego. So it's getting hot. I'm sure Stacy is very nervous. That's the mom.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say
yes,
that reminds me of Blake Griffin's mom and Steph and Austin Curry's mom in the NBA, because they have sons that play. So if they ever have a matchup, it's like you're just sitting there like, I hope they both do good, but
yeah. Poor thing, and they had like a really good article. Philadelphia Inquirer did one on how like basically it's really exciting because one of her sons is going to be in the World Series, and we don't know which one.
Either way, yeah,
but at least one. So
well, I am going to be cheering for the Phillies because I can't go for the Padres since they knocked out my Dodgers.
I was wondering what you were gonna do. I know it's very hard. I feel I don't know who I'd rather. I think like I think it's you want to cheer for Aaron because he pitches like once, so like you cheer for him today because you're like, oh, like, but otherwise you're like it's very like,
yeah, if he's not playing in that game, you're like, okay,
like, but I do think Phillies have like a great story. Again, Bryce Harper left Washington, and then Washington went and won the World Series without him.
Oh,
so like there's
sad.
just I know, and then he's on a 13-year contract, so he's basically like a Philly for the rest of his life. Unless anything dramatic happens. So I think, and then like just to see, because they lost their coach in the middle, they fired their coach in the middle of the season.
Yes, that was some other drama I saw about
that. The fact that and it was really just like a change in like culture, I guess is what the articles have been saying. So like the fact that like a mid-year change really just gave them a spark. So the fact that they've been able to carry it. And then just like the rebuilding of Padres, like it's just kind of like, and like we said, they were both the underdogs in the beginning of all of this. They were,
which I do love about this whole World Series. Everyone kind of was
besides the Astros were kind of, and then like Yankees, but like the fact that the Yankees played the Guardians as long as they did, like a lot of people thought Guardians were going to be gone that first week, and then they stuck around, and then like to play a game against someone as the caliber as the Yankees, I think. It could have been anyone at one point. And so I think that I just really, I say it every episode, but this is the best part of baseball. And so.
Well, no. And so what I love and what I want, like people that aren't like necessarily fans, but to like, to take away is that there's so much like that goes into the game that makes it much more interesting. Like finding the stories, like two brothers going up against each other. Like, I think that's interesting. Bryce Harper's story, like, like, okay, I want him to win now, but then the Padres, going through them trying to get there and like, oh, like bringing that to the city, so there's so much. And then like, okay, Yankees, if I want it, because Aaron Judge, like he's set these records, but he doesn't have a ring, or he didn't win a World Series. So, that kind of talk has always been within any sports, like, okay, can you be truly happy? Like, yeah, you did all this, but you never got a ring. Like, there's plenty of guys in like the NBA that they just never got there. Like Chris Paul may be one of those in the NBA that may never get a ring. So I just find those stories, and it makes the game a little bit better with you,
Yeah.
when you watch it. So I'm excited about these series, even though my team's not in it. But I am
I
gonna
think it's
go.
anyone's game at this
Yeah,
point.
I'm gonna go
And
for
I
the
think,
Phillies for now unless they get knocked out. So
well, it's look, and then that's the thing. Like again, 18 innings. Like
yeah,
it's not over until it's over, and it's just you never know. Like
and the
again,
best
we
come
just
out
saw
during playoffs.
the Padres were down, and all of a sudden they have 7 runs, and it's like it can
And I
just.
love how quick that can turn around in baseball, because like if you load the bases, you can either like a strike and it's worth nothing, but if you get that one hit, it's like you just scored 4
It's
in
crazy.
2 seconds.
And all it takes is like a missed thrown pitch or like
Or
the
what the
right
one guy, I don't
single and
I
like
think it was
doubles and
the Padres, like because of the sun was in his
yes,
eye, he missed that
Soto,
pop.
I
Yeah.
think. I think
Or
Soto.
not the pop
Somebody
up, but
was
he
like,
missed it.
yeah. And then that's how the Phillies got their score. I know it was a rough inning that
Yeah,
week.
like
And
anything.
then
Like
but
again,
it's Blake Snell who is pitching, and he's like one of their like really good ones. So it just shows you that like just because like I talked about Verlander last week, like he didn't start hot, and it's just again I don't know
well,
how
again,
anyone
like you
puts
said, mental. It all goes back. Like,
mental.
how can you bring yourself back, like from a mistake, or like I started off bad. Verlander had to.
Yeah, but it's a long game. Sometimes
Yeah.
18 innings. So I think
Hopefully, you won't have to stay up too late anymore. Like, there's no more
that's
18
why I was
innings.
like, oh my God, I want to go to sleep. And then like I just
So
stayed in my bed. I mean, I stayed in my car because I was like, I don't want to move.
you
Like
can't
we
move.
scored. I don't want to
Yeah.
move. My mom, I live upstairs. This is not where I live, everybody, by the way. I'm house sitting for somebody. But I live upstairs and my mom always checks to make sure like I make it because I have side note, I always have this fear that I'm gonna fall down the stairs and I live alone, so no one's ever gonna notice that I've
Oh,
gone missing. So my mom
yeah.
is always like, did you
Like you
make it
need
to
a
the
life
stairs?
alert.
Yes,
Just
I do. I do. And so my mom's like, did you make it up the stairs? I'm like, I haven't left my car. I haven't left my car. So
check on me after the game is over.
that's what I told her. And so, we all are. And like, my grandfather passed away last year. So we're just, Astros are kind of the way that we just all stay connected. Like my cousin, he's a lawyer. He lives in Hammond and like, we don't talk a lot, but like, even he sent me and my sister a group text to be like, oh my God, this game. So it's really just, I know it sounds silly, but
Grandpa
like, it's
bringing
more
y'all
than just
together.
sports, like it's
Yeah.
just something that I've always really liked about
Which is
sports is that it really does
another,
connect everyone. So
yep,
that's fun.
another key thing. It brings family together. Like it's something that like passed down. Like my grandfather was a very big sports baseball fan as well, the Dodgers. So that lives on. But yeah, it brings a connection. See,
Yes.
grandpa's still connected with you guys.
Yeah. So if the Astros
Uh,
go to the World Series, my sister and I are planning to go half day the first game because I feel like because the Nolas are so special to BR that I'm like, okay, well, if one of them's there, I can.
yeah.
Game one would be the perfect like everyone just have fun. Like I can
Well, and
and just
so
enjoy it and not be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
see, this is another thing that like I love about sports and growing up, or not growing up because I didn't grow up here, but living in like a college town, that this area, like I don't know, the South is a little bit different to me around sports, especially around a college
Cool
team
thing.
or their team. But how this team will rally around, like how they love Joe Burrow, but it's a team they don't know. Like how they'll be paying attention, the city of Baton Rouge, to the World Series or to this series for sure, because there are
Yeah.
natives from Baton Rouge there and
Yeah.
LSU. So it's just, crazy how I just love how sports again connects that. And it's like,
It's more than
well,
just a
we
game.
don't have a baseball team, but like except for the LSU Tigers, I guess, is our baseball
Mhm.
team. But yeah, like they're going to be paying attention because of the NOLA. So
Yep.
so as we transition out of the MLB, because again
Talk
we're
forever
in
about
those
it.
championships, and then we're going to the World Series. But another cool thing that I saw a couple weeks ago, that the Major League Baseball became the first of the 4 major sports, so in the United States, to enter an official contract with a CBD company. So and this company is known for topical solutions and gummy products that are used to treat pain and stress. And I know I've listened to a lot of podcasts with former NFL players and former NBA players, and they, smoked when it was not legal, but that was a great way to recover their body after being hit and put through so much. So I'm glad to see that the sports world is getting on that. So they've partnered or signed a contract with Charlotte's Web is the company. So they're official CBD of Major League Baseball. So now players, athletes can recover, at least in the MLB, legally with CBD. But we know that's
I mean,
legal.
I think it's been a long time coming, and I'm with you. I think that I think it got such a negative rap in the beginning. So I think that it's finally being used for good. And I think I don't know. I just feel like we all just need to be a little bit more open-minded. So I'm glad to see that.
Yeah.
It's turning itself
We're coming around. Yeah. So that's great news. So again, exciting time in the MLB world. What's happening in football? So it looks like we were both I was into watching a little bit of baseball, and then the NBA started. So I was a little bit over there. Not too outside of, again, looking at my teams for the NFL, but there's been some drama going on this week, not necessarily on the field in the NFL, but yesterday, so some hot topics going around in the NFL. Yesterday, Robert Kraft, who's the owner of the New England Patriots, and Jerry Jones of the Cowboys. We talked about them. I think it was a couple of episodes again when we were talking about the Commanders owner who was doing a private investigation on the other owner, saying it's like a mafia, blah, 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 because he could be losing his team, or they're still investigating. But they had an owners meeting yesterday about extending Roger Goodell, who is the commissioner of the NFL, his contract. And so what came out of it today, which was funny, and I'm just picturing these two old men, that they got into a little disagreement because it was 31-1 votes for Goodell to be renewed, his contract to be renewed. And Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys was the only one that said no. And we both have said, like, those are the two most powerful men, one of the two most powerful owners. So they went at it, and Kraft was Jones told Kraft,
it was Jones,
don't F with me. And he's like, what'd you say?
Which you can totally picture that happening if you know these old men. And
I'm just like, oh my God. So
I just feel like this is my thing. And who else would it be? Like, is Jerry wanting that job? Like, that's what I'm like, because there's no way.
But he's saying he doesn't want, like, some of the things, he doesn't think he should get bonuses without showing the work, which I do agree. But he's like, he doesn't feel like he's doing enough with like revenue, and that it's not transparent, or blah, blah, blah. But if 31 other owners are fine. But again,
I just also feel like he's so bored. I just feel like he's so rich that he's bored at this point that he's like, let me just, no.
Right.
That's my vision of Jerry Jones. Like, he's just so rich. He's done everything at this point,
Right.
And then
maybe if we had more women owners on there, then it wouldn't be like this kind of crap. Like, we only have three women owners.
You know that they'd be in that meeting, like, I have things to do. Let's just wrap this up.
My to-do list is long.
There's all our junior league meetings. Like, come on, let's go. We got things to do.
Right, let's go. Yeah. But speaking of Kraft, so another hot thing that they're talking about, he got married. I think he's like 80 something, and he married a young lady.
She's a doctor. Was she a PhD doctor or like a medical doctor?
I don't know. I have not looked her up, and I need to.
Sorry, that's my dog. It's a dog I'm dog sitting. Sorry.
See, he's even trying to chime in. He's telling us what she was.
Big Phillies versus Padres fan. So
right. Yeah, so he got married last week, Friday, I believe. Tom Brady, we all know Tom Brady. We've talked about him on here. He used to be with the Patriots, who is owned by Robert Kraft.
Which is good they kept that relationship.
Well,
we all know that they were tight.
So Tom Brady left practice. Now, mind you, they were traveling and they were playing the Steelers on Sunday. but Tom went to the wedding on Friday
Without the wedding ring.
without his wedding ring. We know we've talked about him and Giselle. And I was looking for pictures like, oh, did Giselle go? Because her and Craft have been
Yeah. No,
obviously.
she is done.
Yeah. So she wasn't there. But what's being talked about on all the sports stations and all of that is because the Buccaneers lost to the Steelers, which the Steelers are one of the worst teams in the league right now. Since they lost, they're kind of like, okay, is it because Tom Brady didn't show up? He didn't come with his team. They not have that connection. But I'm gonna let you tell what he did because
so there's this viral video of him losing his on them. Yes. Y'all, like, okay. And I keep any girls listening, I just feel like this is the epitome of the mean girl quote when they're like, we just want to crack her. We just want to crack Regina George. Tom Brady is the Regina George of the NFL. And he is cracking. Like, he is just cracking. So he's like losing it on his O-line because he knows he's losing to the Steelers, who are not a very good, they don't even have like a consistent quarterback half the time. Like, he is just yelling at them. And he, like, I just feel like he is just cracking. And like, I just am like, this is how he's going out. And I just feel like, as someone who has been against him from the day one, it's like, if you know what, this is how, my mom always said, the higher they are, the harder they fall. And I'm like, if this is how Tom Brady goes down, I am fine. Because
like we said,
he was losing it. And again, I understand that he's Tom Brady, so I could eat these words in like 3 months and he'd be like on top of the world. But like, I think but their coach has been, not their coach, but I think their offensive lineman or like one of their head people are like, I think our team is still like riding the high of the Super Bowl. And they're like, no, like, you have to come in here and still do the work and start from scratch every season. Like,
I think too, that's kind of like, I think that could be too, like, they're just kind of saying the right things to the media. They're not going to blame Tom, like, from the team point, but it is something to like think about, because if your head quarterback, he has not had the greatest year. He hasn't had the greatest year. There. He's also like games. He went to this wedding, and like Bill Belichick,
he has a podcast. Did you know that he has a podcast?
Yeah,
like he's had a podcast. He's taking his veteran days. Do you remember? Like, we have to
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Still
like,
doing all these things.
Yes,
and it's like, you have nothing to show for this.
And then you're losing, but now you're getting mad at your team. But like, are you building? Does the team have respect for you or that connection, because you left to go to this wedding? Now, mind you, Bill Belichick, Robert Kraft is Bill Belichick's boss, and he didn't even go to the game, go to the wedding,
and he knows what he has to do.
Because he knew that he had too much to do. So
Tom's also in hot water this week, and we didn't talk about this before we filmed, but he made a statement comparing him playing football, like leaving to go into like football season, to deployment. Did you see this?
No.
He like, and like the military is like very like, oh yeah, because I'm sure staying in 5-star resorts, or like staying in,
or having like, your family with you if they want to be like,
yeah, and you're still getting paid millions of dollars, and like even the higher ranked militaries barely crack 6 figures. And I'm like, dude, you just need to go away. Like, you should have gone away a long time ago. Again, he's cracking. Regina George,
I was about to say, I think he is like deep down, like, I should have not come back.
He's losing it, and I just.
Like you said,
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, you put yourself in this situation.
Can you use that clip for whenever we promote this one? That when I say Tom Brady is the Regina George of the NFL, that's what I want. That's how I want to promote this episode, because it's just, and then I think it's like he's writing it himself. Like, he's just doing this like all to himself. It's like one thing if people were like trying to smear his name and everything. I'm like, nope, you just keep doing it. You're doing it yourself.
No one's talking about him outside of what he is showing. Like, no one would talk about him going to this wedding if they came out and won or even played great.
But there's also the fact that he like lost it on his own. And I just think that that's where it's like
yelling at him like a parent would do to their child. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I
I
just
don't
think,
think,
well, we've
especially
talked
when you
about it
went
because
there.
like like I just think that I just think it's really interesting that I feel like the older quarterbacks are just like kind of losing it this
Because
year.
Aaron
Because like
Rodgers made some
Aaron
stuff. Yep.
Rodgers lost to who did they play? The Jets. Because
Yeah.
Justin Herbert, like what?
So I didn't
And
watch
then
that game, but when I saw that come up, I was like, the Jets beat?
yes, and Jets have cracked like I think the top 10 right now. Like it's insane. And like so we're losing. So Brady is cracking. Russell Wilson, I'm sorry, like John Elway needs to get his
That was
money
a
back.
waste of that big old contract.
Terrible, terrible games. And then he's just like not like you can tell, like I think a couple of weeks ago, it was one of the Thursday night game. I don't know. But like, or I guess Sunday, they get all the prime time spots, and I'm sure they're really regretting that now because there's like literally, I don't even know the player, but they have like Russell Wilson sitting on the bench, and there's a player like looking at him like, are you not phased by the fact that like we're losing? So I just feel like all these people who have these big names, it's almost like they're losing their respect, and I just feel like it's showing on the field because
Yeah.
I don't think their teams are rallying behind them. They're not being the leaders, but you have the Josh Allens, you have the Patrick Mahomes, like you have these young quarterbacks who like Joe Burrows who are getting their teams excited, and I think you're showing it on the field, which I think just shows you how important it is who is in that huddle, who is leading it, because look what happens when you just think, oh, I have all the money in the world. And it's like, no, you have to back that up. Like
Yeah.
you can't just
Yeah,
do this.
I think one of the biggest busts is Russell Wilson from the off season, that big old talk, and he was supposed to come to the Saints. I'm kind of glad he didn't.
No.
I mean, we're already struggling. But
But I feel like
our
that's what like
quarterback is a little bit
those are the
better.
circles. I just feel like there's no quarterback known. Or like this big name quarterback is not performing at all, or the young ones. Like I just think Zach Wilson played so well against for the Jets. Like I just think he also had like some off-season drama. I think like he slept with like his best friend's mom or something like that. I don't know, but
Zach Wilson is the quarterback for the Jets.
Right.
So
And they've all just been preparing well, and I don't know. I just think that shows you that you can have all the money in the world, but like if you can't perform, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I would not mess with John Elway. I just feel like he is a very powerful man, and I think that like no matter what your contract says, I guarantee you he probably has like a clause in there to where it's like if you're not performing, I can get rid of you.
So John Elway was a former quarterback, legendary.
Who is now the general manager of the Denver Broncos.
For the Broncos, yep.
Yes, he played for the Broncos, and now he works for the Broncos.
Russell.
Yes, I do think that. And again, he had Peyton. He brought Peyton Manning in, who was a quarterback. Like I think because he's a quarterback, he knows what his quarterback should be, and I think that that's kind of like why he personally liked Peyton, because I think he knew the standard that he would bring, which he did. He brought him to the Super Bowl twice and won once. And then I feel like Russell has Super Bowl history, and then there's also like he's just not performing. And the whole time, just to give you some background, Pete Carroll is the coach of Seattle Seahawks, which is where Russell played before the Broncos. And there was always just like the media kind of made it sound like Russell was the victim in that, and that like, that there was
Seattle is winning.
Exactly. And so I think it's just like, and so I think like it would be one thing if they were doing bad and Denver was doing bad, because it could be like, oh, rebuilding. But it's the fact that Seattle is still finding success, and the Denver, like, I don't know.
Maybe the high altitude is getting to Russell.
Maybe.
We'll blame it on that, because Denver has high altitude.
But I also feel like he's like off traveling with his wife Sierra, and like
maybe he's
I don't know. And I think that like, but like who is it at Seattle now? Is it Geno
Smith?
Yes, and like he's doing. And that makes you excited, because he's been the backup for so many people that it's like great that he's finding his way and doing things. And I don't know. I just feel like the new generation are the ones that are acting the way that they should, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's definitely a shift. So I like seeing that somewhat. My teams aren't shifting in the way I want, but to see those young ones. And then just to give you guys an update on Tua from Miami. the quarterback that had the concussion. He finally spoke out today. He hasn't played in the game since that Bengals game. They're taking it slowly and, more serious, making sure he's ready to come back. But he spoke out about being concussed after the Bengals game, and he doesn't remember anything after that hit. Yeah, until he
off.
Yeah, he doesn't remember that. He remembers when he got or on his way to the hospital, like in the ride, and then he remembers coming back with the team. So he spoke out for the first time. I think we mentioned this at the beginning, like maybe our first episode. I know we've talked about it on Sports and Mimosa, like on our social, but Deshaun Watson, who is had very a lot, like over 24 women have allegations against is it sexual harassment? I guess like a sexual harassment
The
assault.
first ones were.
Yeah, and so there's a new one that just came out. Like we hadn't heard a minute because they were.
Because they put him away because he got his, like, what was it, the fine and like the ban or whatever.
He apologized and they made payments, I think, to some, like they settled with some women. And it hasn't been talked about, but well, now there's a new woman.
Isn't there, he like paid for something, right? Is that what it was? I think it was something with like, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at, but basically he's back in the news for not being nice to women.
Yeah, and another woman allegation. So we'll find out more and share with that. But just wanted to that was something that popped into, and I know we've talked about it. And so before we head off, the NBA started last night. The Boston Celtics and the 76ers played in the opening night, and then the Lakers.
What a good matchup.
Well, and Boston won. So again, they had that problem with their coach. So they have their interim coach came in. He got his first win. Nobody really knows this first coach, but hey, he came out with the first win.
I'm just happy for Jason Tatum.
Yeah. What I also loved about that game is that they honored Bill Russell and like their uniforms, and on the court, it has Bill Russell's number, and then they have his number on their jersey, but also this I think like the championships.
And for everyone who doesn't know, Bill Russell is their Hall of Famer. He played like what in the 70s? Because and
he was a very pretty much big activist.
Celtics, yes, big activist, civil rights, and he passed away this year. So
and Boston is one of the racist cities to play in, they say. And so for Bill,
if you're like into like history, Boston and like basketball is just a really good,
because there's some good history with the Lakers and the Bostons that I've seen. So
I'm sorry, I'm a big Larry Bird fan, but I also like Magic, and that was just like something that's really fun to watch. But Larry Bird and Magic Johnson's friendship is one of my favorite things. So feel free to watch just like read up on that, because that's a really good, it's just a fascinating culture. I don't know if fascinating is the word, but it is a racist city, and
just not fascinating and exciting. We're just like
exactly. Wow, like it's
I got
2022 and this totally happens. But no, the fact that they've honored Bill Russell, because he really did put the Celtics on the map. So I think that it's cool to see that.
That was good. And again, Boston won, and then the Warriors, who are the NBA champions from last year, got their rings. It's pretty nice. We shared that on our Instagram, so you can look at that. Well, that was in the story, so we'll have to bring it down because it's very detailed. But they took on the Lakers, and the Lakers are my team, but they're not any kind of contenders right now. They're not together. But with the
what
Lakers,
is going on? I know we can't really talk about it because we're time crunched, but like, what's going on with the Russell Westbrook? And
so they're not they're saying like he's not happy and they're not utilizing him right. But he came back. And there was like a big deal like
because they're such a big franchise, there's always going to be dramas around them. So it's always, but I feel like as a fan, I'm like, okay, is this like useful drama or is this useless drama? Like,
no, because I don't think there's I don't think there's unity among the team, and like I feel like we just need Phil Jackson to come and have a kumbaya.
What a good man.
Yes, he was able to do Shaq and Kobe, keep them together. you know, like when they, I mean,
Right.
they're good friends, you know, and Shaq and Kobe's relationship towards the end of Kobe's
Well,
life,
like,
you
I
know, was
just think,
great,
yeah,
but
I don't want to
I don't
put
think
it
there's
all on
unity.
the coach, but like, I really
But
don't
it
think you could
starts.
underestimate a coach. Cause I mean, you just think, and then like Phil Jackson is just like a greatest, cause he was with Michael Jordan and the cup, like the
Yeah.
Chicago Bulls. Like he's
Chicago.
just, but like, so I just feel like when you have a franchise like this, like you really do need a
Well, and we do
strong
have the Lakers do have
team.
a new coach this season, so there could be
Oh,
that.
okay.
But then we also have the number one diva in basketball. We have
Who
LeBron
is that?
James.
But this, I was like, who is that? Say it. Say his name.
LeBron James. So, okay, LeBron was not my favorite on the court, but I cheer
I
for
like him
him
off
for
the
the
court.
Lakers.
I like
Off
him
the
off the
court,
court. I like his causes. I like what
I
he
love his
supports.
causes. I love that him and his wife have been together since they were in high school, and that there has been nothing that
That's
has
very
come
true.
out.
That's a very
You
good point.
know, they have great kids. Like I love what he does and like his circle of friends. I
Mhm.
just hadn't been a basketball fan, you know, prior to him coming to the Lakers. Of course, I cheer
I
for him,
really like him and Kevin
but
Love's friendship. And like really when they were in the Cavs together, I just really like and so I think like
yeah,
I would like LeBron like as a person. Like I think if he walked in the room
yeah,
and like I think but like it is a and I
it's
honestly
only
feel
on
like
the court that
yeah,
I don't
I do
like
think
him.
it's on the court where I'm like, what you doing? Like
Right. Well,
yeah.
he is going into his 20th season. This is his start of his 20th season. His goal is to
Just stay
play
with
with
Bronny,
his
right?
son. Bronny is 18 in high school, and Bronny just got a deal with
With
Nike on his 18th birthday. So that's pretty cool. So pretty much he's grown up with Nike because LeBron has been a part of Nike
right.
his whole career. So his goal is to play, but we don't know if Bronny's going to go to college, go play in the D League, or come
What do you
straight into
think
the league.
he'll do?
I
Because
think he's going to
wasn't
come
LeBron
in.
one of the last ones to like before they changed the rules to where you had
Yeah,
to
but
go to
I think
college?
they changed it back.
I
I
think they
gotta look
changed it
into that.
back. I think
Yeah,
they
so Bronny could go straight in, but yes, LeBron was the last to come into the league straight out of high school. So that's how it used to be done. But after LeBron, so 20 years ago, they moved it to where you had to go to college for at
yep.
least a year and play, a
How
year or
yeah.
two. And so then kids had to go. But now there's another option that some kids can do and go play in the D League,
Mhm.
and make some money and then get prepared to go in, and you're playing with bigger guys and in college that could be, you know, NBA potential. So there's all of that. So we'll see. But we lost to the Warriors. They did great. And speaking of coaches, I just want to tap in to that where you were saying like it kind of is the coach. I think it is like Steve Kerr is a great coach because you know there was a
Oh,
spat
him.
between Draymond Green and Jordan Poole on the
Yes.
same team at practice, but Klay Thompson was saying how Coach Kerr kind of pulled them together, worked it out, and he was like, "Yeah, we're all brothers. We spend a lot of time. You're gonna have some beef." But that Steve Kerr worked with them, like, let's fix this internally.
I
And they
love
played
that
well.
man because, and like, I think I always liked him. And then I watched The Last Dance, which, if anyone's watching and you just
Oh,
want to know anything about any sports team, just choose the Chicago Bulls and watch The Last Dance, and you'll
and
be
you
able
get
to
to
talk
see
about
another part
anything.
of Michael Jordan a little bit. So
Yes.
I love
And
that.
so,
Yeah.
and there's a whole episode on Steve Kerr, and you understand he's a very like he is big on activism, and then you learn about like his father or whatever.
Yeah, that
And
was
I'm
so
just like, how do you not cheer for this man in anything he does? Like that made me. I'm not a big Warriors fan because I really don't like that NBA. I just feel like they all chase the championship, which so like it's all like super teams now
like who
instead of
started
just
that
like
though?
yeah. I do think
LeBron.
the Bulls. Oh, you think LeBron
No.
did?
Well,
Yeah,
in
because
our
you're right.
recent
No,
years,
because you're right. Because I do think that, like,
he made
I
that
mean,
Miami team.
yes, and yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Because I was thinking like the Bulls, but like at the time that was rebuilding. Like they were just making things work
And
and
I
like
don't think
whatever.
like didn't
But
I need to
but
watch
like
that
you
again. Did
think about
Michael go out and be like,
no, yeah. So you're
yeah,
right. So you're right. So it was just kind of like, and then like you just, I mean, side note, but like you just had like, um like Scottie Pippen and like just
Now that was
Dennis
a dream team
Rodman,
on its own.
like,
Because
but they
who did they
all like
have?
did their
Phil
own
Jackson.
thing. Yes, exactly. So, but I do like I really it's hard for me to cheer for like the big ones because it's like super teams, and then like I've said this, Kevin Durant, I just feel like follows like where he thinks he's going to get a ring, and I just feel like, and you know, I grew up where like the people who stay with their franchise, and it's like, no, we're going to make this work. Like I swear to God, if Luka Doncic leaves the Dallas Mavs, I'm going to be so upset because I just like I like that Dirk stayed with his team. I like that, you know, like Matt, like no, did Magic stay with the Lakers the whole time?
Yes.
Because again, like like so I
Kobe
just
stayed with the Lakers.
I like the ones who just stay. It's easier to have like respect for them then. And I mean, I know like who am I? They don't care about my respects, but like I feel like it's easier to like root for them because it's like no, they've stayed through and through, like through the bad seasons and through the good seasons. And so when they get that championship, it's like greater. So like that's why I just feel like the ones who just stay with their people, I just
Well, and I think I'll have to double check this, but I think oh, I hope that didn't mess this up. Sorry guys. I think on the Warriors, Stephen, Draymond, and Clay have only been with the Warriors.
I think that's true. I think that's right.
Yeah. So yeah, so they're one of those teams, and I think like they came in, so they didn't necessarily rebuild, but that is a powerhouse team. You know what I mean? Like
I just feel like the ones who are like, I don't want to be here anymore. Bye. Like I just think like
I think that's where I did not like LeBron on the court because he had to leave, and I really wanted him to win a championship in Cleveland the first time because he was so good, and for him to rally people around him.
and that's
But
why I
he
think
had
it
to
showed him
leave.
as a leader then. I feel like the
Yeah.
Cavs
But
showed
he
him as a
left and then
leader.
came back and won
Yeah.
one.
You know what I mean?
So,
Like I think that yes, but we could talk about that forever. And I know that
yeah. So we're gonna wrap this up, guys. But so that's the NBA. Well, we're back with more of those games. They're going to be on all week, all weekend. Something exciting with that if you're going to watch the game, watch a game that's on TNT with the crew. Chuck, Charles Barkley, Ernie Johnson, Kenny, and Shaq are on there, and they're just a great crew. They signed their contract, and they're funny to watch. So I think that's like a great way to start if you want to watch basketball, is to watch it with that, because that halftime stuff, like they're just hilarious. It's like a TV show in its own. Well, it is a TV show, but you know what I mean. So I hope that you guys watch some sports. We know we will be watching MLB. We'll be watching basketball and the ball, of course. But I think the exciting part right now for us is the MLB season. So to see what happens, especially for Meredith, since her team is still in. So we'll be cheering for them on the side, I guess. Rooting for you.
Remember, Aaron, this time next year it could be completely different and you'd want me to cheer for you. So
I'm gonna go for you on that side because I won't go for the Yankees. Although Aaron is from California, you know I cheer for anyone from California. But thank you guys for joining us again. We hope you learned something. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. If you have any questions about anything, like say something happened or your significant other was talking about something, or someone within sports and you want to know a little bit more, let us know. We'll give you some background. We'll research for you if we don't know, because we like looking at this stuff. So yes. So we hope that you will connect with us, and thank you for joining. Thank you for joining, Meredith. Again, I always love talking. Yes. Always. But y'all have a great night, a great weekend, and enjoy some sports.
Go team, go.